Okay, well, here we are again. And contrary to what it might look like, which is a bit of a boudoir, we're actually in Oxford at the Randolph Hotel. I think it's called the Randolph Hotel.
It is, yes.
Perfect. So for Procurement and Finance
Coffee break. Yes.
number 4. And the first 3 have landed quite well, which is nice to know, although thanks for the feedback. We've got rid of the ring light. We're not sat in front of glass. We're going to try and keep it shorter. And we're going to look at the camera, which is because we're going to try and be professional. So look, what are we going to do today? Well, look, for those that haven't come across us before, who are we and why are we doing this? The idea is really simple. I have a background in procurement.
I have a background in finance.
And we just thought we'd get together, have a cup of coffee, have a chat about things that are going on. So get going, eh?
Yeah.
Right, look, today's topic is change management. It kind of builds on what we did in Coffee Break 1 with transformation. But actually, the act of transformation requires some effort to make sure that it works. And I guess, I suppose the kind of question to start with is, why is change management important?
Yeah. So in that first episode, I discussed the importance of having a vision for what your transformation program is, and what is you're trying to achieve, and where is your ultimate destination. So change management is important for a number of reasons. So first of all, you have to be clear on the destination, but then you have to be able to communicate and manage the change.
Right. Okay.
So if you think about change management and doing sort of an impact analysis, you just think, what is the change? Who is impacted? What's the nature of the change? What is the degree of change? Is it sort of low, medium, or high impact?
Right.
What functions in the business will be impacted by the change? And what will be my comms strategy? Because it won't just be internally. Often, and you will know this from a procurement point of view, often when you have a big transformation program, there'll be people outside of the business that need to be communicated to. Right. Often vendors need to be communicated to.
Yep.
So it's important to do, when you're looking at your 2B business processes, you look through those end-to-end 2B processes and ask those questions, or 5 questions, and do a change impact assessment on those.
Cool. Okay. So that all sounds good. So I don't know. I suppose the next question really is, how is it effective? And actually, just an observation from me about this. It's, in my experience, the thing that undoes change management, or almost top of all those things that you just talked about, is just the failure to talk to your stakeholders.
Yeah.
It's the point that out there, like in anything in life, you're going to have people that support you, you're going to have people that are completely neutral, and there will be people who are not in support of what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I guess, one of the biggest things to do, and, all of us in some form or another have done some kind of stakeholder mapping, but actually it's important, because what we do on that stakeholder mapping is we work out who is going to be affected most by the transformation, and who's actually got the ability to either really help you get there or to stop you dead in your tracks if it goes wrong.
Yeah.
And it's like anything on a 2x2 matrix. If it's up in the top right, which is they're really affected and they're really influential,
yes,
you'd better engage them to make sure that either you have fully leveraged their support, or you're working hard to make sure that they don't stop you, right?
Yeah, and that, as you say, that stakeholder mapping obviously makes makes you dedicate the resources you have for change management, dedicated to the most influential stakeholder groups.
Right. Good point.
But that point you mentioned on resistance to change, I think that's that's an important thing to discuss, because frequently on large scale transformation programs, you'll have some people who are used to change and they're excited to input into what the 2B process looks like. They're excited to address the pain points that they currently have. in their business processes and make sure they get closed out as a part of this transformation project. But there's inevitably some people perhaps that have been doing the same thing a very, very long time, and they feel maybe a little bit overwhelmed by the thought of completely changing what you're doing. So in order to address resistance to change, I think there's a few key things that can be done. The first is to assess the level of change, like I just mentioned. The second one is to validate concerns, because if you actually communicate to them, it could be that they have some unfounded concerns that are causing them to be resistant to change. And then obviously if you talk it through,
it's almost like talking to them openly about what they're worried about.
Yes,
because it recognises.
It might just be a perception they have. That's a false perception. The other thing is obviously communicate regularly and proactively. I don't think you can do too much communication when it comes to change management. The other thing I would say is offer training and support. So another reason people can be resistant to change is because they feel very comfortable with what they do now, even if it's very manually, with lots of Excel spreadsheets. But if you offer them training and support to adopt to a new way of working that is actually more efficient, then that's more likely that they will embrace the change then. And I think another thing is, there will be those sort of star performers who, as I say, are used to change, have been on change transformation projects before. So and are very excited to close out the pain points. So I think you try to reward proactive participants. It could be just by giving them a mention in team meetings, something like that, just to acknowledge that that they're taking the situation, running with it, and trying to do the best they can.
So almost let the people that are enthusiastic get on and run ahead and carry the message. But shepherd those ones that are worried. Talk to them, engage them, and keep them happy. Cool. Okay. Well, look, a nice short one today on the things that could really make a difference when you're trying to achieve any kind of transformation, whether it's procurement, finance, or frankly in any other thing. Think about those really important messages of communicate, engage, communicate again, map your stakeholders, communicate again, and look after the ones that have doubts.
Just one last thought on that. Incidentally, this has come up recently on an engagement. I noticed that when I was doing face-to-face change management communication, I would have to say things at least 3 times. But what we've noticed moving to a sort of virtual world over Teams, that has to be increased, maybe up to
even more.
5 or more times. So when you're thinking through your comms strategy on this change, when we say not enough communication is too much. Just think of the impact of being remote, and that probably you would have to increase the time.
That's going to be especially useful for the likes of me who are doing our emails and other stuff while we're pretending to be on a Teams meeting. Right, so even more communication. All right, we're going to get back to coffee. Lovely to see you. We will be looking at a really important topic, trying to stay awake, data, in our next coffee break. So we're going to top up with probably a treble shot, and we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.